Hi, welcome back to Joy of Soul Food. I'm Pamela Holmes, and today we'll be preparing pinto beans. We're going to be preparing pinto beans from dry beans. Doesn't matter which brand you use. Just get a 16-ounce bag of dried pinto beans. And what you want to do is to soak them in a bowl of water overnight. And usually, if you don't have overnight, you want to soak them at least 6 to 8 hours before you cook them. And your beans will get softer and you'll get the texture you need. Please soak them. There's a fast method too, but soaking works best. Okay, now that we've soaked our beans overnight, we're going to rinse them in a colander to make sure any grit or small stones are out of the beans. And then we're going to season them up and let them cook slowly for at least 1.5 hours. We'll just pour the beans in a colander. Make sure you discard the water the beans soaked in overnight. It's very important. Don't cook it in that water. And you're going to just look through the beans, see if you see any impurities real quickly. Sometimes you see a bean that's a different color. Always throw that away. But mainly what we're doing is getting the sand and grit out of the beans. There's a bean of a different color right there. Now that the beans have been rinsed, you've gone through, found the odd-colored beans, you're going to rinse them with water, make sure that they're clean, and we're going to put those in a pot and begin to cook the beans. Now that we have our beans rinsed, you see here I have a pot of boiling water. Got about 6 cups of water. And I have 4 bouillon cubes, chicken bouillon cubes in there. And this is a good way to keep stock on hand if you don't want to cook with pork. You can buy the broth. It's more expensive, sometimes less salty. But if you just add 4 cubes to 6 cups of water, it's automatically less salty. So this is a way to save money. So I've got my broth boiling. I'm going to add the clean and soaked beans. And you can see it just the water just covers the beans. You may have to add more water later, but you don't want to add too much water at this point. Now that the beans are in the chicken broth, there's plenty of salt, so you won't need to add salt. A little later, I'm going to add garlic and onion powder and pepper. But for now, we're just going to allow the beans to cook slowly. Keep them at medium heat, which is a 4 or 5 on my gas range, but medium heat, and allow them to cook for about an hour, hour and a half. Okay, now it's time to season the beans. I'm going to add about a 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper, 1/4 teaspoon of onion powder, 1/4 teaspoon of granulated garlic. We're going to stir that up. Beans are just about done. Wanted to absorb a little bit more water, and then I'm going to teach you a secret to getting good bean gravy, because a lot of times people cook beans and they see all this water at the end. Not a lot of water, but it feels like it. So what we're going to do is show you how to thicken the beans up. If you need salt at this time, you can add a little more salt. If not, then the chicken broth can probably do the trick. Okay. Beans are simmering nicely. Remember, I told you a secret. The secret is a flat panel spoon if you're in a Teflon pot. A fork works great if you're in a stainless pot, but you don't want to scratch the Teflon with a fork. So you can use a flat panel spoon. What you do is, now that the beans are softened, you take it, and I'm going to bring the camera a little closer here so you can look into the pot. We're going to smash the beans against the side of the pot. Some people add flour, but I don't. You can do that too. Or you can do that as well as smashing the beans. But you just want to smash a few against the side. That begins to make a gravy of the beans themselves, and that's how you thicken up your beans when there's extra water, which there normally will be. So once we've done that, we're going to let just those few beans make a gravy. We'll be ready to serve with our spoon bread. Who knew, right? See, they're thickening up already. Isn't that amazing? It ends up being about maybe a cup that you smash, if that. Okay, we're just going to let that simmer, and our beans will be ready in about 5 minutes. I want to show you too, if you weren't having any success with the bean smashing technique, just want to sprinkle very little flour very lightly across the top. I just did a tablespoon. And stir that into the beans, and that'll thicken them up as well. After you've done that, allow the beans to cook for about 5 minutes. Thicken up completely, and they'll be ready to serve. Also, please taste the beans. If it needs salt, pepper, a little more garlic, add more. But always taste your food before you serve it to others. Okay. Now you can see that the beans have absorb that water, and we have the nice gravy that we like to see. Another way to evaporate that water, obviously, is to take the top off, but that takes a little longer. And it condenses the seasonings a lot. So there we have our pinto beans. Yum. Okay, we've got our pinto beans, and now we're plating up our spoon bread. So here we have it, salmon croquettes, pinto beans, and spoon bread. As soon as the cobbler's ready, we'll be ready to eat. Bon appetit.